So it's like probably around almost 1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I don't actually expect anyone to be awake to hear this. I couldn't log on to my account for a long time. This is my first time actually being able to log in like 3 months. It was just crazy trying to get access to it, but I finally did. And I am here, and I just had these like thoughts. I was planning on working on a project about Michael, and of course, like life always just kind of has its way. So I wasn't able to do that. But I just, it's always on my mind. Michael is always on my mind, and I don't really have a lot of involvement with the Michael Jackson community, much less the death hoax community. So I'm not always really sure about what's going on as far as like that whole thing is concerned. My life definitely pivoted, but I was having a conversation with someone recently, probably about maybe like 2 weeks ago or a month ago. We were just talking about Michael because he really doesn't come around the community much anymore either. And we were just talking about Michael and just like the influence like he has had on people throughout his entire life, his career, everything. And I was talking about how Michael, like it kind of, I had this epiphany while I was having this conversation, that Michael had this, like, literally, like, he's responsible for my spiritual awakening in many ways. And I just remember making death hoax videos and, like, talking about the death hoax and talking about all these different things. And I remember, um, just, like, being, like, so dumbfounded and not understanding so many things during this time, like, things I was learning about myself, about life, about Michael, just this connection that I had with him spiritually that I didn't understand at the time, that was so confusing to me at the time. And just now, like, the past year or 2, I've really come into that spiritual awakening and, like, knowing who I am and understanding myself and, knowing my why, and I see that Michael had this profound spiritual effect on me. And I know it sounds like really crazy and cultish, but it's not meant to sound that way. Um, but I just had this thought. I'm like laying in bed, not able to sleep, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, how many things like have come to light since I did these videos years ago, and how many messages there were about him. And I just think that like just knowing there's this biopic coming out and all these things that are just kind of like pointing back to him. Um, I think that it's just like it has me feeling so weird. This has been like this journey started for me in 2009, and it's 2023. It's been a long time. It's been over a decade, almost two, since we started this journey. And I just feel like I tried so hard to tell Michael's story, but we're not really responsible for telling other people's stories, especially if they have the ability to tell it themselves. And I think I just tried so hard to convey a message that I didn't understand myself at the time. And I just feel so pulled into kind of like this coming full circle. And I feel so pulled into just kind of like finishing this. And I don't even know why I'm on here. I know it's the middle of the night. No one's probably even in here. I can't, my screen is black. I'm using a work computer, so I don't even know what's going on. But I just want you guys to know that, like, wherever you are in your journey with this, whether you believe Michael is here or you think he's gone or you're not sure anymore, just know that regardless as wherever you are right now in that journey, just know that like there's just such a profound meaning in all of this. I think Michael's death, um, whether it be a physical death, a spiritual death, an identity death, whatever, it just profoundly like had this effect on culture and life and society, and it made us have conversations that we hadn't before. But I know for people, like just his fans or people who really, I really wasn't a Michael Jackson fan, you guys know the story, but just people in general who were drawn to the story of what happened to him, it just had this effect on how we see things, and it set a path forward for many people. So I just want to kind of get back into content about Michael. And I think I just want to talk more about, I think I want to just make traditional, I don't really have a lot of time to come on and go live and like talk to people like I used to. My life is so crazy and it's just so different now. But I do think I want to just kind of come on here and like, I just want to like showcase the things that I see. I want to kind of revisit things that I've spoken about before and like just touch on them differently. I think that that is something that's really important for me to do because I was just looking at my old videos and like there's something I did a video about Best of Joy like years ago and like how Michael had put like 11 11 11 in it and like all these things about Best of Joy and then I was listening to Thriller 40 and I was like shocked to see like Best of Joy, but it was called something else. I forget what it was called. I don't have it in front of me right now, but Best of Joy was on it's on Filler 40, and I'm like, "That's so weird," because they were saying how, like, Best of Joy was, like, written it was, like, the last song he ever wrote to his fans, and it was, like, the final song he wrote to his fans, but that's not true because he was writing Best of Joy in, like, 1982. So I don't know why this lie is perpetuated. This was the last song he wrote, and then the lyrics are, like, so disturbing on, like, the original song. It's just like, I thought the one we heard was weird, like he was talking to somebody, like he was having a communication, a conversation with someone, but then when I, like, went listen to the original song, it's even more weird, it's even stranger. So it's like, there's just so many things, like, I don't know, and with the Michael biopic coming out, I just they waited a long time for this biopic to come out for a reason, and there's just, like, a lot of stuff, and I don't know. I just kinda felt like coming on here and just, like, talking, and I know like I said, I can't even see if anyone's in here or what's going on. I doubt it because 'cause I've been, like, MIA since, like, 6 months ago, but, um, I just wanted to do this project on Michael, and I just couldn't find the way to do it. I couldn't find, like, an introduction because I had done so much work investigating, like, his death that put me in a bad spot to try to talk about other things. So I don't know if I am going to Oh, I just saw you guys popping up in here. Hi. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Angel. Um, yeah, like I don't know. It's literally like it's like the middle of the night and I'm just like, I don't know. I just feel like it's just I see like other creators that are still talking about the death hoax and they're just kind of revisiting these same points over and over again. Like, we get it, he's alive, he faked his death, but what more is there to talk about? And I just feel like there's such an awakening that's happening with Michael leaving here. And I remember I would do these videos and I would try to explain to people these things, and people thought I was so crazy. They're like, "What is she talking about? Like, this sounds so insane." But it like now it aligns so much with things that have happened in the world. So like, I don't know. And with the biopic coming out, I just have this like, oh God, I just have these chills every single time I see like anything about it. I just get these chills down my spine about this biopic, and I don't know why. Um, I just feel like there's just a story to tell that people are not going to be expecting. But I also still see people perpetuate things in this community that are not true, and that worries me a little bit because this biopic is going to put a new set of eyes on Michael. Which every single time there's a new set of eyes on Michael, it's controversial. It's something bad. So it'll be good to see something positive put a new set of eyes on Michael. But with that being said, a lot of salacious things will be revisited and spoken about, and we know that. So I guess in a lot of ways, it's just kind of like I don't know. It's just going to be interesting to see unfold, and I just think I feel like they're aligning this movie to come out around some kind of pivotal date. Because there's just a lot of like different things told, different truths. Like I don't know, because I remember like as you guys had known, I had told you guys way before any announcement was made about Jafar playing Michael. I told you guys that someone had told me that there was gonna be a Michael biopic and Jafar was gonna play him. I was given this information years ago, like almost 3 or 4 years ago. So people are saying, "Oh, they just started filming this movie." I don't think it's true. I think they've been filming this movie for a while. I had seen pictures of Jafar shortly after somebody had told me this. I had seen pictures of Jafar with his hair like in an afro. So, but I mean, no one really knew publicly what was going on, but I had been told this information before. So I just feel like they've been filming for a while. Um, Michael was my big spiritual awakening. Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's wild. It's wild. Like, I feel that, and like I said, I'm not connected to the community at all. I don't really, like, know what goes on. I have this huge following on TikTok, just for my own, brand, spiritual connection to people. I have 18,000 followers on TikTok, and I often see my content all over TikTok. People just, like, take my videos, splice them up, and put them on. It's wild. I'm like, "Oh my god," like, and I'm like, they're clearly making money off of this, but I mean, I don't say anything. It's like, whatever, I don't care. Information is information, but I see that people are heavy into the death hoax, like, heavy. YouTube might not be a huge platform for it anymore, but there's a very big platform of death hoax people that are, like, very new in the past year or 2. It's really crazy. I'm like, "Oh my god." It's like it happens every couple of years, but, like, it's really big right now. They don't seem to make their way to YouTube to watch videos because the new generation of kids, like, not the millennials, but the Gen Xer no, Gen X, sorry, Gen Zers, they are very much into, like, instant gratification. Like, they don't do YouTube. They do, TikTok. So I've seen my videos spliced up all over TikTok and people talking about things. It's just really crazy. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is insane." Um, I've considered opening up my platform there, because I know people can, like, actually come on mic and, like, talk. I don't really know. I would love for people to move over to TikTok and follow me there and create content for Michael on TikTok, because I think you can do up to 10-minute videos on TikTok now. So I could easily do videos on TikTok, like, but I don't know if I wanna go that route. Or YouTube has a lot of, like, restrictions to me, and, it never works right for me. I'm live and my camera's, like, not even working. I don't know what's going on with it. There's always problems with, YouTube. So I just wanna, like, I don't know. I don't know, I just felt so, like, randomly inclined to come on here. It's literally, like, the middle of the night. I've been working on projects, like, all day, all night. I'm so fucking busy. I have 3 businesses and a full-time job. Like, my life is absolute chaos right now. Absolute chaos, but I just felt, like, inclined to come on here. Like, I'm like, "I gotta talk to, like, my Michael Jackson people," and I don't even, like, talk about Michael. I still, like, look at things, I still see things all the time that kinda remind me of things about him, but I'm not really, like, so even, like, I was even following Paris's music for a little while, but I'm not even really following Paris anymore. I'm just kind of, like, completely out of the Michael Jackson. I never in my life, like, years ago, thought I would ever be out of this, like, it's weird. It completely consumed, like, 6 to 7 years of my life, and the fact that it has no part in my life. But the thing is, the core things that I learned from Michael always play an essential role in my life. The spiritual awakening that he caused in my life is always there. So I live in Las Vegas, so there's a lot of reminders of him here. Um, his presence is definitely felt here very much, but I don't know. It's just I get kind of removed from it because I don't know. I know a lot of people think he's gone. They don't believe in, like, a death hoax anymore, and they're like, "Oh, he never came back, so he must be gone." And I get it, I get it. I totally get that. I don't have anything bad against people who think Michael's gone. I mean, that's how they feel. I go back and forth about Michael being present here still. No, he didn't die in 2009, but I know he was not well when this stuff happened with him. I know Michael had a lot of health issues. I kind of just go back and forth. There's sometimes where I feel like his presence is so strong, like he's still around amongst us. And then there's other times where I just feel like he's not, like he's like in the in between. I feel like that a lot. And I don't know how I feel about it. It's just like, I don't know, but we'll see. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here and just, like, I don't even know. I'm sure I'm so tired. I need to go to sleep, but I'm sure something will pop up from me on my channel. I'm really trying to decide on if I wanna just relaunch my platform on TikTok or not, because I have a huge TikTok following, but I don't know if I wanna integrate Michael Jackson stuff into that following, but I kind of want to because, like, Michael's is really big a part of my spiritual awakening, so I guess that crowd is very much into that stuff, so that I have on I have a lot of people from my YouTube follow me over there already. It's the kind element. Um, yeah, it's to me, like, at this point, I don't even, like it doesn't even matter to me if Michael is, like, alive physically or not, you know what I mean? Like, that hasn't even been something I've cared about for a long. I care, I shouldn't say I don't care, but it hasn't been, like, a focal point of mine for a very long time. Like, I haven't had a focal point of Michael being alive or not for a long time. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things that have happened. I just don't think that I don't know. I think we got so much stuff wrong in the beginning. I only use TikTok because TikTok has been a very big, way for me to spread my message. I have a lot of it's a really good platform for me to spread my message that I talk about on the kind element. Spiritually, it's been very good for me. A lot of people don't like TikTok. I like it because it's an instant platform where I've learned so many things that I didn't know even about Michael on TikTok. Like there's just so much information. It's like such a fast platform for information and like it's not as restrictive as YouTube. Um, but there's just a lot of shit going on right now. And I do think that Michael's very involved in a lot of stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like I go back and forth. I'm like sometimes I feel like I don't feel his presence here, but I feel his work here. And then other times I'm just like I don't know. I don't know what to think about Michael physically. I have been asking him for signs for a while, like before I would like ask Michael for signs that he's still here and like I would have crazy things happen. Like contact was so easy, but now it's just so like I don't know. I don't know if it's just because 'cause I've stopped and it's kinda maybe he feels some kind of way about that because 'cause I'm just like not doing anything anymore. I'm still like it's hard to explain. It's such a I wanna like share my story someday about like the things that happened to me, like, being involved in the Seth hoax, like, the way that it, like, it affected my life is crazy, like, if you guys knew so many things I never talked about, like and I feel like I wanna, like, sometimes just, like, share things with you guys that, like, I never told people because it was just so much for me to understand at the time, but, I mean, just the ways that, like, this affected my life on a very personal level, the things that I went through and experienced and, like, just experiencing him in such a way that was, like, so wild in the beginning, like, I didn't know what was going on, but, like, in hindsight, it's like, Michael was so present in the beginning. He was so present, and, like, people ruined that. They really ruined it, they ruined it, and they took that away from us, he couldn't be around because of what people were doing, and, like, it was like people were trying to smoke him out and hunt him down, and it was just, like it was crazy, you know? It was crazy, and I sometimes wish we can go back to those days and just kind of redo things, kind of push people out that didn't deserve to be there and stand strong together, but we didn't we allowed ourselves to be divided, and I feel, like, ethically and morally responsible to come back here every now and then and say, "Hey, like, you guys aren't alone," because I know there's a lot of loony fucking tunes in this community now that are still just saying crazy things and still, like, perpetuating ridiculous theories, and I know that, and so I feel, like, obligated to come back sometimes and, but, like, the last stuff I really, really did was, like, the "Can You Feel It" stuff, and, like, that was right before COVID hit, and like, was just feeling so profoundly like, "Oh my god," like and I went back the other day and I watched "Can You Feel It" and I cried. 'Cause I was like, "Oh my god." I watched the video and I saw with such clarity, like, things that I just did not understand. Even when I was doing this video in 2019 and I was like, "Something's amiss. Something's gonna happen. I feel it," you know? I knew that something was imminent that was gonna happen, but I didn't understand, like, the whole COVID thing, like, changing our lives forever. I just felt it, you know? But I went back and I watched the "Can You Feel It" music video the other day, and I was just like, "Oh my god," like, I mean, Michael is, like, showing star seeds, and he's showing, like, he just everything that, like, I've found out and I've understood is in that music video, and he was, like, very young. Michael was, like, 22 years old when he did that music that he directed it, wrote the screenplay for it. He was a child, and he was concerned. He was talking about these things. He knew his path, and, like, I'm just like, "Oh my god, like, this is crazy watching this music video." I'm, like, in tears. I'm just like, "Dude, he literally was, like, telling people, like, what was gonna happen." And I felt whenever like, right before COVID came, I was like, "Something's gonna happen." I felt it in my fucking body, like, something was gonna happen, and literally, like, less than a year later, our entire lives changed forever. And I just feel like he knows about these moments in time, and I feel like to have that kind of clairvoyancy or that ability to see things is just wild, and I don't know how crazy that would make you to know that there are these huge things, cataclysmic things that can happen to people, and you just can't stop it because 'cause you're one man. So you try to influence, like, the world to do something, but people you just have a faction of fans that, like, love you, maybe might by the millions, but there's billions of people, right? And every time you try to do it, you have these people that come and try to stop you. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I just feel like with that being said, like, I don't know, guys. Like, I have like my life is so full circle right now. I am in a very huge, like, spiritual part of my life right now. And a lot of things that I'm trying to aspire to do they're just coming full circle. And this is just like kind of in the middle. And I feel like it's so important for me to like finish it, but I just feel like we're just at the height of things to come. And I don't know what that looks like for Michael. I don't know what Michael's gonna do. I just feel like I don't know. But to those of you who are listening to me, like I know it's like the middle of the night for me, but I just say like just be prepared. This is I know if you're like a fan, it's super hard because you just want to know what happened to him and you just kind of feel like you feel defeated. Like as a fan, you're like, "Oh shit, like was he murdered? Did someone kill him? Was Michael like taken out? Like, did he die? Or even if you think he's still alive, you're just like, what the hell? Like what happened? What the hell happened? What really went down in that house on June 25th? What happened?" And I don't know if we'll ever know the answer to that question, but I know that, like, I just feel like in the world in general, a lot of things are just coming out. Like, I just feel like all these dark things that we've been the past, like, I'd say, like, 30 to 40 years, a lot of it has been quite of an experience for humans, and we were kind of, like, in this spot, and I think a lot of things just being revealed right now, and that it's just that moment. And I feel like probably, part of that moment is gonna be about him, whatever that looks like, so I don't know. I just bumpy ride. Hold on, but I just wanted to come on here and just it's like I said, it's the middle of the night and my brain is just so busy right now because I just feel like really weird about my goal right now. I feel really like I just feel weird. I'm very like intuitive lately about things, and when I feel things, they just very much manifest. And I feel really weird about Michael right now. I feel like there's just something about to come out. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's just something that I need to be present for and ready to talk about and ready to like stand 10 toes down and just talk about this shit and not hide from it. And so that's why I'm here. I'm here to be honest and I'm here to tell my story. And I just feel like I'm a very intuitive person, and I just feel like there is something really major about to happen with Michael Jackson's name, his likeness. I don't know what it is. I just feel like there is things about to come out, and I don't know if they're gonna be favorable or not favorable, but I think they're gonna shake things up, and I don't know what's gonna happen, but you heard it here first. All what, 6 of you I'm seeing now? You heard it here first, so we'll see. But, hi, Brandon, I feel like you, it is all confusing and sometimes it's too much to handle. I'm at this point that we don't ever know the truth, but the important thing is people love him so much. Yeah, I mean, totally. Like, I do feel like I don't know that we'll ever know 100% what happened that night, but I promise you, we will know the truth about Michael. And I don't think we'll know the details of what happened that night, maybe not, but I just don't believe there is just so many layers to this, guys. There's so many layers and there's so many things that like I just feel like this is a time where people are going to start talking. Michael's children are older. Like Michael's oldest child is pushing 30 and his daughter is like in her mid 20s and his youngest child is like 22, or wait, how's he 21? And yeah, I miss him too. I don't know how you miss someone who you never really like knew, but I miss Michael. I miss Michael's presence in my life. And I watch videos of Michael and I miss him, and I was not a fan. I was not a fan of Michael, but I see things and it hurts sometimes when I see his kids. Michael's kids are beautiful and they're like good adults, they're good kids. Like they're not brats, they're not entitled, they don't get into trouble, they're not problematic. And when I see these kids, it breaks my fucking heart. Like he's gonna be having grandkids soon. Michael's kids are like pushing 30. Like he's gonna have grandkids soon. He's gonna have like and that's crazy, it's wild. He's missing these I've seen his daughter, like, walk these runways, and she's so beautiful, and I see his sons doing all these amazing things, and it's just, like, it hurts me that he's missing this. I go, "Oh, he's missing it. If he's not present, he's missing it." And it's just sad, and it's like, I think that's the part that bothers me the most about this whole entire thing. It's just that it's just so, like, for it to end like this is just, like, heartbreaking, and I don't think it's going to end like this, so I think that we are going to get a truth, and I don't know how comfortable we're going to be with that truth, and I think that's what kinda worries me, but it's just time. It's time to tell the truth. It's time to unravel this, and it's been a long time, guys. It's been a long time, and I don't know. There's a lot of people who are believers. Michael Jackson Death Host community is huge. It's very big, but they're more like the people who believe that the who are believers now are more like kids who kind of like the Elvis thing, or the Tupac thing. They're not a lot of the of people I see talking about Michael being alive were not even they were barely born when he died. They were like maybe 2 or 3 years old. They don't really know Michael. They don't like even though I wasn't a fan of Michael Jackson's, like, he was still a part of my childhood. I wasn't, like, a fan of his, but he was still like Michael Jackson, like, he was very much a presence in my life because he was, like, famous at the height of, like, my childhood and my teens, so I remember Michael Jackson. These kids nowadays don't have a recollection of him, so their interest is different. Their emotional investment is different than ours because we really miss him. Like we really know what it's like to not to we know what it's like to exist in a world with Michael Jackson. They don't really know that, you know? So I'm just like, damn. I just see them kind of like taking my videos and slicing them up and talking about Michael being alive. And it's a joke. It's a fucking joke to these kids. They're like, oh, he's just living like Elvis. And I'm like, dude, no, it's so much deeper than that. It hurts. It's a painful. I hurt for Michael's kids though, I hurt for them. Like they're just so like it's not fair. It's not fair to like have to I saw what happened to Paris for Michael's birthday. People lost their fucking minds because she didn't say happy birthday. Let me tell you something. Like Paris does not have to publicly I didn't come on here and say anything during this when this happened. I didn't say anything. I didn't get on here and say anything because I was just like, in my own zone. I had a lot of stuff going on during that time. But let me just say something. Paris, Prince, and a Blanket, I feel like the obligation that they have is they financially benefit from Michael's estate, right? So they do have an obligation to do things as far as like I feel like his estate's concerned. I think his kids should show up to things. I think his kids should do more to have fans be able to afford things. I think his kids should have a bigger say in a lot of financial decisions that are made in his estate. I do feel like they have an obligation to be at events. They have an obligation to like I do feel like that in some respects, but when it comes to like talking about Michael, it really bothers me that people like get angry because Paris doesn't publicly talk about Michael. Paris is trying to forge her own way. She's a very exceptionally talented artist. Like she's works with Linda Perry. She's working with people who would never even look her fucking way if she wasn't talented. Linda Perry is not impressed by Michael Jackson, okay? She does not give a fuck that Michael Jackson is Paris's father. She is a raw talent. Paris is a very, very talented. People like love working with her. She's very musically inclined. She's a great writer. She plays her own music. She's very gifted, okay? So she is trying to build her own platform. It's not in her interest if she talked about Michael all the time, they would say she was using him for clout. She doesn't talk about him enough, and it's a problem. Paris does not owe anybody an explanation or, does not owe anything to Michael in terms of her getting on her platform and saying happy birthday to Michael. People deal with things in their own way. What I saw, I think it was Pearl Jr. who was like, she does have to. No, she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to type a message to her dad on his birthday because maybe Paris has a problem with her dad. Maybe Paris, if you think Michael's alive, maybe she has an issue with her father leaving her as a small child. Maybe she does have resentment against her dad. Why would that not be her right to feel that way? Just because she financially gained from having Michael's estate. Okay, Michael worked his ass off so that his kids could have a good life. He made sure they were taken care of no matter what happened to him. A has nothing to do with the B. I know Paris loves her father very much, but she doesn't owe him shit. Michael's kids don't owe him anything. Michael chose to have kids. Okay. I think if they are benefiting from the estate financially, that there are things they should do, like as far as the fans are concerned, when it comes to certain business things. Absolutely. Okay. Ribbon cuttings, things like that, going to certain shows, showing their support, because I mean, you're benefiting from it financially, right? So I think that when it comes to certain business things, they should show up to those things, which they do. But when it comes to on a personal level, those kids do not owe anybody anything. They did not ask to be born. And for anyone with a platform to demand that Paris tell Michael happy birthday, that just like sent me because she doesn't have to say shit to Michael on his birthday. Paris could be angry with her father if she wants to. I don't think she is at all. She actually did tell him happy birthday. She had a concert that day, and she actually did say happy birthday to her father and talked about him in a very positive light, which was beautiful. She had to actually show people that she did this, but people were pissed off because she didn't like get up in the morning and say, "Oh, happy birthday." She doesn't have to. She does not have to. Prince does not have to. They don't have to. They did not ask. Michael chose to have children and then chose to leave them. That's how I see it. I'm sorry if I offend anyone by saying that. If you think Michael Jackson died from propofol, an overdose, well, you know what? That's fucking worse. I never understood these people who said, like, I think Michael really died of an overdose, so you're horrible. I'm like, dude, if Michael took propofol down the hall from his sleeping children, what the fuck kind of person does something like that? If I actually believe that Michael died that way, I would have no respect for him. Because if you are that reckless with your children in the house with you, that speaks volumes about you. I don't believe Michael was taking propofol. Michael was very protective of his kids. Michael was not taking propofol down the hall from his children. I don't believe that. I will never believe that. But if he was doing it, baby, what? Like, you actually are okay with that? Like, no. Absolutely not. Okay? So my whole point is people get mad because of things that Paris says and does. Paris knows Michael in a way that we don't know him. I don't know why that doesn't get into people's brains. These children and his family actually experienced Michael on a personal level. We do not know Michael personally. We know an entertainer. I believe so many positive things about Michael because of my own shared experience, my vibration from him. I know that he is a good person. But that does not mean that we personally know this man. We don't personally know him. They have their own experiences, they have their own reason. I saw Kurt Cobain. I mean, Kurt Cobain obviously died. He committed suicide, and I saw his daughter did an article like 3 years ago, and they were just asking. She just like went the fuck off. And she was like, "I am so tired of my father's fans criticizing me for not talking about him, criticizing me for not celebrating him." She's like, this is Francis being Cobain. She's like, my father put a shotgun in his mouth and blew his fucking brains out when I was 1 years old. She was like, why are you celebrating that? That is not okay. He left me with a crazy person, talking about Courtney Love. She's like, I don't, these fans are so unhinged. They're like, oh, well, you have his money. As she should. As she should have his money. That's his daughter. But she was like, you guys celebrate this shit and like you don't understand how it affects me. It's the same thing with Michael's kids. Michael obviously didn't kill himself. Obviously he didn't do that. But he left those kids. Maybe he had to. Maybe he had to leave them because something else was going on. Maybe there was a threat to him being around them because of what was going on with his life. I'm not saying he left them because he wanted to leave them. I doubt it. He loved his children. But either way, we don't have a right to tell these adults how to feel about that. And this is what I have a problem with in this community. We cannot separate fact from fiction, real life from fantasy. That's a problem. Michael, dead or alive, still had a life outside of being the king of pop. And this is why people have failed to understand this death hoax all these years because they don't see past that facade that they saw in him. You don't know him. And that's not in a bad way, but, like, this is why I stopped making videos and why I stepped back. Because I was like, I'm so tired of trying to talk about this shit with these people who don't want to listen. Because all they wanna hear is a fantasy. All they wanna hear are these things are just ridiculous, these ridiculous things about Michael. Like he was so shy. He didn't want to be with women. He was like a child. Michael was not childlike. Michael was not shy. Michael wasn't afraid to be with women. Like get the fuck out of here with that. That is not true. Michael had a public image that was controversial because he liked being controversial. He had a public image that was shrouded in secrecy because he chose to keep his private life private, which is his right. He's allowed to do that. But like that doesn't mean he was some innocent man child that hid away and hid his eyes from people. Like that is so ridiculous. People who are children and infantile do not fake their deaths and like evade a life of publicity. It's like this is why I stopped doing this work because I was like, these people just will not listen. They won't listen. They just have as soon as you pivot from his image that they like, it's a problem. And like, you have to forget what you know about him in order to see clearly what's happened here. You have to. People are so sad that he's gone because they miss him because it hurts. I understand that fully. But who do you miss, though? Who are you missing? He created an ideology of who he was, and that's what people are missing, but you don't know him. And I think that, like, we were going to know him, but I think Michael's choice to leave was a forced choice. I don't think he planned it, okay? I think Michael had to leave. So I think he was going to show people who he was, but he couldn't because he was stopped, you know? And so I just hope that, like, for me, I don't have, like, the muzzle. I used to be very, like, outspoken and very extroverted and like, just kinda blunt, and, like, I'm still that way, but I would only be that way, in an abrasive way. I'm not so abrasive anymore. I am very, like, much of a chill person, but, like, I if I'm gonna do this work, I'm not going to, like, cover my mouth anymore and, like and hide my eyes and be afraid to tell the truth. Because it's not beneficial. So I don't know. I don't know if people will ever have peace because if you're not willing to accept facts, then you're never going to have peace about Michael. And I think that's the problem because people are looking for an answer that they're never going to find because it doesn't align with what they think about him. That's just what I believe. I think Michael was deeply involved in things that really fucked his life up and really put him in danger. And put a target on his back big time. And I think he's trying to do things behind the scenes now to reverse that, right? But how much can you do when you have 3 living, breathing beings walking this earth that can be hurt? People are very much saying that Michael is involved in the Save the Children movement, and I don't say he's not, but also I don't think that Michael is going to put his kids in danger either. Michael's kids walk this earth. He's not gonna put them in a position where they can be hurt by being reckless. So I always keep that in mind too. He has to be very careful because they don't even live under the roofs of, like, they have their own houses. They're alone in the world. They don't even have that protection that they had living with their grandmother or their cousin. It's not like it's different now. They are out there, existing in a world that's, like, not safe. So it's like he has to be very careful with what he's doing. So I'm I think he is involved in things in some ways, but then in other ways I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. I just kind of teeter on things. But I do think that spiritually a lot is happening and Michael knew this stuff was coming and I think that we are going to know the truth about a lot of things. But are you going to be receptive to that truth or not? That's the question. Because if you're not receptive to the truth because it doesn't align with what you think, then you're never going to have peace. You know, I watched hundreds of hours of interviews of Michael. I watch these interviews and he just says the same thing. He repeats himself over and over again and he says the same thing. He's so rehearsed. He's so rehearsed. And I get it. That captivated the souls of so many people. But at the same time, it's like, I see past that. I don't mean that in a negative way at all. I don't think there's anything bad about Michael at all. I just think that he was rehearsed and he was careful. And I just think that there's yin and yang in everything. There's light and there's darkness in everyone. And I think that if you're a person that refuses to see balance and you refuse to be open to the idea of all facts, you're gonna be disappointed when it comes to Michael all the time because it keeps leading people to a dead end. You know what I mean? It keeps leading people to a dead end. It keeps leading people, off of a bridge because they keep having this expectation of what they think he should be, and it doesn't align. This is why people are not getting answers because you have a preconceived notion of what you think Michael is, and it doesn't work. Even people who are trying to destroy him and take him down, who call him a pedophile, they keep hitting a brick wall because it doesn't align. It doesn't make sense because they keep trying to do all this research and find out how he was a pedophile, blah blah blah, and they just keep coming up with actually Michael liked women a lot, grown women. Like he was a sexual person and he had girlfriends and he had people he slept with, and when they get to that part, they pivot and they disappear. and they can't make their documentaries or file their lawsuits because it doesn't align with their story. It goes both ways. So, unless you're able to be completely objective and understand, you know, all sides of him, it's never going to work for you. And you're wasting your time by even trying to investigate it. And I think that that's why, like, I just stopped because I got so tired of like trying to explain that to people. And I'm totally rambling right now. And I know I'm probably not making any sense to you guys, but this is just what's heavy on my mind and my heart right now. And I want to get back into this, but I'm just not going to be like sugarcoating things. And I'm not saying I'm gonna tell Michael's personal like stuff. I'm not saying I'm gonna do anything like that. I'm just saying that like I just had to disconnect myself from this community to get to the place where I'm able to actually talk about him in entirety without fear of backlash, you know? So anyway, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I have to go to work in a couple of hours and a million things to do. I love the 6 of you that came in here. Thank you. I wasn't expecting that at all. I was just gonna make a video to record, but please don't take anything that I said negatively. I'm not trying to, like, put out negative energy or say anything bad about Michael. I just want you guys to understand that, like, if you want closure in anything, you have to be willing to listen to all parts of it. And Michael's story is a beautiful story, but there's some dark turns, you know what I mean? And I think that it's just really important to understand that. That's all I'm saying. But I love you guys, and, I'm here, and my mind and heart is definitely wanting to get back into this, but I just have to make sure it's right for everybody, you know? So, hopefully next time my camera is working. I don't know what's going on because I wanna just kinda come on I just wanna come on video and, like, talk to you guys, like, myself, my face, my essence. I love you guys very much, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks for listening to me, okay? Have a good one. Bye.